Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with my dad, Steve. We're going to bring you a bit more structure today, hopefully have some fun, and give you some nice insight. So what do we got for him, Dad? Give him some ideas.
All right, so we're going to go over 5 things. The first up we're going to go over is the roster cuts, some shocking ones, quite frankly, and we're going to discuss that, and then we're going to talk about the new additions. There's been some trades, there's been some claim waivers, and I've actually did extensive research on a couple of the players that they picked up that I have some good news about. And then we're also going to do a segment where we talk about who we were most impressed with at a camp. It's kind of a surprise, and most disappointed with one player, both on the positive and the negative. We're going to go over. We're going to have a segment where our betting experts gives us his one big bet for the year. And then we're also going to have a fun segment at the end we call 90-50-10. It's basically what we feel like for the season has a 90% chance of happening, has a 50% chance of happening, and a 10% chance of happening. So start us off, Matt.
First on the list, we have Carl Davis. I think we're going to go through, Dad, if it's cool with you. I'm just going to say whether it's a surprise or not, and we can expand if we want to. He was a bit of a surprise for me.
I had him on my list too. So it was a bit. They're a little light up front now, but oh well. You can get the big fat guys are sitting there anywhere pretty much off the street. So, a little bit of a surprise. Not a huge one. He didn't have a great camp. He was getting pushed around. He wasn't holding up well against double teams like he usually does. So,
Yeah. I would be surprised if he doesn't end up on the practice squad, hopefully. Because like you said, we got killed by the run last year. So being light up front, I think Guy is kind of not the same. So I know I picked him as a surprise cut last week. I was very much wrong about that. But we'll see. We'll see. Quandre Mosley, definitely not a surprise.
See. Listen, this is where the old bull experience has to jump in.
Oh, you're lagging.
I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have to jump into Bailey Zappi. I mean, we gotta
right to Bailey Zappi.
We go over these. We got to talk about that because that's what everyone's talking about. We got to give our thoughts on that. This is like the old man doing the stop the presses.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Get right to it. The juice, Bailey Zappi. And I think if anything here, you want your flowers for this more than you want to talk about this. You want your flowers for the fact that you alluded to that he was going to be the surprise cut. You didn't. You doubted yourself. So I don't know how much credit you actually can get. So you can get like half a dozen roses. I don't think you're getting the full dozen roses on this.
I'll take it. If he wasn't a 4th round pick, if he was a 6th round pick, he was going to be my big surprise cut. But I'm like, 4th round pick. They're not cutting him.
Yep. And
should have went with my gut.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. And I think it really showed in that third game. I know we had the podcast before that third game. He was horrible in that third game.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that was his opportunity. I don't think he showed up. I don't know if it's Bill O'Brien's offense, if he's just not, if he thought he was, going to coast because we had nothing else, but Bill literally opted for nothing else. So, I mean,
yeah, it's just, he did better under Patricia and Judge because those guys were complete morons, and they simplified everything so much that Zappi did okay in it. He was comfortable in it. Now Bill O'Brien's back. He puts in an actual NFL offense. He's utilizing Mac Jones' strength, which is his decision making and ability to audible and read the defense. And all of a sudden, Zappi can't do that. And throw on top of it, he can't see over anyone. He has to, move specifically in the pocket just to view the ball downfield. And this is what we get. We get this.
Yep. And I think I've been commuting to work a bit more than I'd like, but Felger is so fired up about this. And I think the argument is kind of sound in that Bailey Zappi did exactly what you asked him to last year. And now suddenly he finds himself without a job. at the same time, Bill, as much as I do get frustrated by him, he does say last year's last year, right? You got to earn your spot every single year, every snap. So Bailey kind of mailing it in this preseason and everything. If anything, he made himself so unclaimable that Bill probably felt it was just safe to dump him on the practice squad, which is exactly what happened. So.
He was right. I tell you, boy, if times changed. The one thing that the Patriots were absolutely right on, Bill Belichick was right on. He picked the perfect guys back on the roster in the practice squad. Because guess how many Patriots got claimed that got cut?
0.
Zero.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did a perfect job of cutting the right people because zero. And back in the day, you and I used to cry about some of the players the Patriots lost. Like, man, we
Yes.
really wanted to keep him, but it was too much at that position, and that is how far we've fallen as far as our roster goes.
Nobody wants our players. Nobody.
They do not.
We're thin pretty much everywhere except for a cornerback. I mean, yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
let's skip to the guys who are a bit of a surprise. Go right
yep,
over the people who
yeah,
you never even heard of. Forget it.
yep.
You know what I mean?
The
Keep
Carson
going.
Wells is no Munson is the kid who had like a interception and
He's actually back on the practice squad. So
yep.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, look at these guys. I mean,
Scotty Washington.
I mean the guys who are supposed to be cut
Yeah.
are
I
supposed
mean,
to be no names.
Trace
Chase Hines.
McSorley, horrible.
Yeah, get him out of here. That garbage.
Jason
Chase
Hines, what do
Hines,
you got?
six round pick last year, offensive line.
Gone.
Garbage.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to another one of their picks when we get to the IR. They love to
Yeah.
just have these players that are just like ghosts, and yeah, we'll get to
Yeah.
that. Another no surprise, no surprise. Cody Russell.
Back on the
Uh,
practice squad. No surprise.
okay.
Oh, right
So
there, Joshua Bledsoe.
yeah,
That was a
that.
surprise. I'm
You were
surprised
super
that
high on
they
him.
got him back. I was. And I'm surprised they got him back. I'm very happy they got him back. And, so I'm going to get into safeties later, but I mean, I'm glad they got him back. He was going to be a top third round pick until he got injured. And
Yeah.
Patriots, took a flyer on him at the end of the draft because they knew he was going to be out the first year. And he
I'm
showed
pretty
some
sure he
signs,
showed in
but yeah,
OTAs. Like he was really like people were talking about him OTAs a ton.
they were, yeah.
All right.
So,
Yeah, that is surprising to see. Cunningham, another big one, surprise. But at the same time, I think what I told you was I saw them cutting him because there was no way anyone was going to claim him. And
yep,
sure
you were
enough,
right. Yeah.
he makes it. He's still there. He's going to be just fine sitting on the practice squad. I think that's where it's probably best for him. JJ, I know. Yeah, how do you feel about JJ?
JJ, I'm not happy about cutting. I mean, if you give me a choice between him and Montgomery, give me JJ. I mean, the guy could at least stay on the field. He's super shifty. Got a little bit of Dion Lewis in him.
I know.
I mean, I don't know why they don't give this guy a chance. They're going to go with the paper boy, Ty Montgomery. He's made out of paper. He's probably going to get injured in the first quarter. And now from what I'm hearing is JJ Taylor doesn't even want to come back. And he doesn't want to come back because they would have brought him back on the practice squad. And he's not on them. So
I think JJ is one of those running backs where you assume he's good at catching the ball, but I think he is truly not good at catching the ball. And I think that's something that he needs to bring to his game because of his size. And I think they were hoping for him to turn into like a James White, Dion Lewis, but what James White and Dion Lewis had of route running, JJ can even hold their, can't do anything.
I never really looked for that if he needs the perfect pass. You might have a good point there. I've never really looked for that. He might need the perfect pass to catch it.
Might need perfect pass, and I was because I've been listening to a lot of sports radio and people have talked about this, and it's the perfect pass and the fact that he could only run like screens. That's all you ever see JJ running. He can't run a route. So
that is true.
Yep.
And
Stuber.
then Kevin Harris. That was my surprise cut.
Kevin Harris. Yep.
Because he was a fourth rounder last year.
Super thin at running back. Yep.
Drafted him last year. I think in the 6th, 7th round. Yeah.
Thyrick, Bill Murray, Ty Montgomery. He's back on the practice squad. You keep talking about him, so I'm assuming he landed there, or
Yeah, he's on the
yep.
practice squad. He'll probably get called up for game day if he's
James
ready to
Ferentz,
go.
another one of those draft picks that we just let linger
Yeah.
for forever on
Yeah.
the line. Never,
Ronnie Perkins flashed. Ronnie Perkins flashed that last game. So
he had
I'm
a
kind of
what do you
glad
have?
he's back. He
Yeah,
did what you're supposed to do against backups if you're a potential
make a
starter.
backup look
He
like a backup.
dominated.
Yeah,
He dominated that game. So hopefully, I don't know, he's about to get his crap together.
yep,
All right, and I think that's about it. So
yep. Those are
let's
those are all our
go.
cuts.
Yeah, let's get to the additions because I like some of them.
Yeah, I like him a lot, and I know that one of the things we talked about was how do they fix this offensive line? We didn't talk about it on the air because it was such a mess at the time. But I
Yeah,
guess
would have took a
first,
half hour.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, and I know you went really deep dive on these guys. One of the things I heard is the Browns guy. He was in like a log jam of tackle. I guess they have like one or two other high end tackles. I didn't hear anything about the low guy, but seems pretty great. So, do you want to go into one of these guys?
Yeah, so here's what I did. I watched the all 22 on both of them. I left out run plays because the bottom line is the big concern is protecting Mac Jones. It was just a nightmare. He was running for his life last year. What I was concerned about was these guys straight up blocking as far as pass protection goes. If they got double team help, I didn't count the play.
Yep, and this is
I
number
only counted
79. 79. Both of them are number
yes,
79.
right.
Yep.
I only counted plays where they had to block one on one in pass protection, and it's very simple. If they block the guy long enough, where if all the other four offensive linemen did too, the quarterback would have had a nice clean pocket, plenty of time to throw. He got a +1 for that. If the guy got by him too quick and he created a pressure, he got a loss for that. So the bottom line is the Cleveland guy on the key plays that I just mentioned, based on that, he had 23 plays where they were positive. He had 7 plays that were a negative. Now, that seems pretty good, but you got to keep in mind they're playing against a lot of backups here, right? And 7 pressures, and it's not as great as I thought. But the Cleveland guy, Wheatley, he's got amazing feet and he can run.
And
That
so you
guy
said
can
seven
run.
pressures, and that was across all the games you watched for him?
I watched 2 games,
Two
and the
games.
numbers
Two
I
games,
came away
seven
with
pressures.
was
Okay.
yes, 23 times where he was squared up with one guy in pass protection, and he blocked them long enough where if the other 4 offensive linemen did the same, quarterback would have a nice pocket. Nice
Yep.
pocket, plenty of time to throw. So there are some positives there, but playing against backups, 7 hurries given up is not great. But he moves well. This guy, you
Yeah.
can tell he's a former tight end. He can run for a guy who's 6'6", 320 pounds.
Yep.
So there is promise there. Yes.
And they're both numbers.
Now,
Oh, seven. Looks like might be 78. It might be 78.
79. No, they're both 79. They're
All
actually
right.
both 79.
Okay. I don't see him on this play
I
right
know.
here. But
I
yep.
watched
No.
enough of them. Trust me.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, the low guy, to me, he's a little more promising in the short term. He went 29-7. So his numbers were better. He still moves pretty well for a big guy, not as well as Wheatley does, but he had 29-7. He did have one really concerning Olay block where the guy just got right by him and he gave up a sack. But, again, take it with a grain of salt because he is playing against mostly backups. But 29 times he squared up with a guy, and that guy wasn't getting around him. He was like a wall. And then
yeah.
he did give up.
In some of these highlights,
Really,
he's
the good
just
news
got
is,
these guys pinned.
yeah. The good news is they did upgrade because these guys are better than McDermott. I can guarantee you that. Better than Riley Reef. I can guarantee you that. The bad news is I didn't come away from it like these guys are ready to start right now and be like above average starting right tackles. But
Yeah.
they could be, so
Yeah.
that's what my research I came away with as far as these 2.
Yep. And, as we go through the season, we're going to try and show as much all 22 timestamps as we can to give you guys a bit of a glimpse into what we're looking at. Line play is a bit difficult. Lines, you just kind of run into each other over and over. But as we get to the other skill positions, we'll have some of that. And I don't know, probably saw on your screen some of the plays my dad was talking about. So you end of the preseason, you come away with two fringe
Well,
backup starter level tackles. They're not bad. So pretty happy
yep,
with
I'll
it.
take it.
And in
Absolutely.
exchange for a kind of redundant position in running back and a 6th-round pick. And as my dad has alluded to a few times up above, we tend to draft people in the 6th round and then release them the next year. So it's
Yeah.
pretty much free. You know what I am curious about is the contracts for these guys. Are these contract years? Let me check real
That's a good
quick.
question. I don't know. While you do
So
that, go ahead. You got it
so it looks
already?
like, yep. So Viridian Lowe, he has 2023, 2024, and 2025. So he has 3 years left on his contract, and each year is
Ooh,
around $1 million. That's it.
I really like that trade then.
It's
Yes.
870K, 985K, and then a 1.1 mil.
Okay.
Uh, and then Tyrone Wheatley junior contract. Oh, let's see. So this is it for him, I think. 750K. That's his whole contract. So
Okay. So
we
it's
got
his
we got one
contract
year.
year for him. Okay.
1 year of
All right.
Tyrone. It's his contract year. He's 26. Probably the biggest contract he's going to get in his entire career next season, depending on how he plays this season. So I think we got some hungry guys, and I think the guy you like the most is the guy that we're going to have the longest no matter what. So we got him for a six
Right.
round pick. So I'll take it. Um,
Absolutely. Me too.
yes. So
Nick
go ahead.
Nick Folk. This is conspiracy theory Steve here. I mean, what was it? Denver gave up a 6th round pick for what is his name, Lutz or something.
Yep.
I mean, an average kicker, and we give up one of the best kickers in the league over the last 3 years for a 7th round pick. Bill Belichick doing his buddy a solid.
And
Mike
you know
Vrabel.
what's
And it's
you know what's
like
kind of
kickers
frustrating here
are in
too?
need right now. Kickers are in need. Are you telling me you couldn't get better than a 7th round pick?
And you know what's kind of frustrating is these are the Titans. You think that it goes both ways, right? You have, okay, we give you the kicker, you give us some slack on this, right? We give you for a 7th round pick, but they took DeAndre Hopkins from us. They were our biggest competitors for DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins. They're probably
Yep.
the reason he's not in a Patriots jersey right now, and we're doing him a favor by giving him a kicker, which
That's a good point. Oh
kind of
God.
sucks. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I do love Vrabel, right? Great
I
memories,
love him for
brought
what
some
he
great
did when he was
memories.
here.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm giving him gifts, especially since we could probably see him in the first round of the playoffs if we make it this year, right? Um,
Yep. You're right.
so no, I'm
Okay.
not too jazzed about that. So
Yeah. So
maybe
anyway,
maybe it was less Vrabel, maybe it was more Folk, right? Folk told him where he wanted to go, and just
that
doing
could
the
be
guy
it
a
too.
solid. So but yeah,
But I know how to do a conspiracy theory. So
that's kind of a handshake deal, like you said. There's something there. Um,
yeah.
Next up are claims. I know you are. I don't know. You got your head in the clouds about these claims. My dad is incredibly excited for a uh, handed around the
Well,
league wide receiver just because he's talented,
what's that? Okay,
or
he's. I'm not
physically gifted.
insanely excited, but the guy was a 1st round pick 2 years ago, and he's got exceptional speed. So the Jalen Rager pickup, I don't know what his story is. I haven't done enough research because they just picked him up today.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm a little excited. I'm not doing backflips like my son is alluding to, but
I mean you got
I'm
to think
excited about that.
he's
The other guy, I mean, he's just a blocking tight end. The
yeah.
what is his name? Piranha Brown or whatever his name. That's what I call him.
It's
Piranha Brown.
Pharaoh. It's Pharaoh.
Farrell, yeah, but
Pharaoh Brown.
he's a good blocking tight end, which they might need. He's got a better shot of getting on the roster at some point than Sokol. That's for sure because he could actually block, unlike
Yeah. If
Gasecki
we're asking
and
Sokol to
Henry's an
make
average blocker.
if we're asking Sokol to have 15 receptions this year, we're in for a bad time. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if we can get somebody else in there who block better, then I'll take it. Jalen Rager, it's really tough for me. He's been on some teams with some really good wide receivers. Philly. I think he was on there
It's a good point.
with
Philly and Minnesota, yeah.
and he really couldn't, even though he was never getting guarded by the best, couldn't make anything
It's a good
happen.
point.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. And then I mentioned up top when we were talking about late round draft picks, especially on the offensive line, they'd love to let linger, and McDermott is that guy. He's on the IR. Um, I don't know when we're going to stop seeing his name, but I think by the time we stop seeing
Yeah.
his name, we're going to start seeing somebody else's name in a similar situation.
McDermott needs to be gone, especially after we get these two guys. Isaiah Brown's got some promise because he's a tall corner. So,
Bolden, yep. Isaiah Bolden, yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, Bolden, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
but
he's the guy who
anyway,
almost died on the field or whatever. He had like a big neck injury,
yeah,
so um,
right.
I'm sure there was a
All right.
sweetheart deal there.
Yeah, let's get to the fun stuff. All right.
Okay.
Your most disappointing player out of camp and most surprising in a positive way player.
All right.
What do
All
you
right.
got first?
We'll do
Go
we'll
with
do
disappointing because I have a backup in case
disappointing.
we get the same guy.
I am almost positive we got the same guy. I think all Patriots fans have the same guy. Disappointing, and I don't know why it's disappointing because it happens to us every year it seems. But Tyquan Thornton is by far and away my most disappointing guy. He
Not
was
mine. Okay,
light.
good.
Okay, good. We're different. He was lighting it
Yes.
up in OTAs. He was all the rage, and all of a sudden he puts pads on. Becomes everyone's like, oh, he's bulking up. He's huge. There's this picture of him. He's put on 20 pounds of muscle, and now he's on IR. He wears a goofy helmet, and he's always injured. I He's such a
Uh,
disappointment. I was so excited. I was like, it can't happen to us this many times, but here we are. He's scaring me that he's just another N'Keal Harry. So we'll
so
see.
if
We'll
Ty
see.
Montgomery is the paper boy, you're saying he's the straw man, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Paperboy and Straw Man.
Yeah,
That's gonna
that
be
sums those two up.
that's our skill positions. Now, what is your most disappointing?
uh,
Wait. Give me one
I have
second.
to say,
Let me take one look.
well, don't. What if you guess it? No, let me say it.
Okay. All right.
Don't be a spoiler. Mine is Christian Barmore.
Oh,
He's
really?
a guy. All we hear about is how he just dominates in training camp practices and practices against his teammates. No one can stop him. He's just pushes them, bullies people. Every time the game comes on, it's like, where is he? People have thrown his name in with a poor man's Aaron
Aaron
Donald
Donald. Yeah.
over the last couple of years. Where the heck is he? I need.
You
He's been my
listen.
most disappointing guy. This is his third year. I thought he was going to come in and we were going to see what everyone thought, what everyone was saying about him in these practices. I thought we were going to see in the preseason games, and I did not.
Yeah. I think you got a point. I'm scared here. I would not want to admit it. And the reason I'm hoping it's a preseason thing, right? He knows he's making the team. He's not going to go full throttle. He's not going to get a concussion. He's not going to hurt himself. Let's hope he finds that motor and he shows up because this is
I
the
hope you're
year,
right.
right? This is the
Yeah.
year for him.
Okay.
I don't know when we have to make a decision on his fifth year option if it's at the end of this year, um, or is he even eligible for one? I don't know.
He's not. He's
Okay,
only 4 years because
okay, all
he's
right.
a second round pick. Yep.
Oh, okay, all right. I
So
knew he was
you're your most
close.
promising player.
Yeah, my most I guess the player I'm most excited for, promising, I would have to go with Keon White. I've been drooling over him since game one, right? The way that he's just powering through guys, he looks like he's, you know, me playing against Jackson in the living room. He just running over guys, high motor. He's so fast.
Like
He's
I
in
say,
almost
he's a grown man.
yeah, and he's just cold-blooded. I don't know if you've watched his draft video, but him just sitting on the couch, he's got this huge chain on, and he's just complete business. He gets a call. You're a Patriot. He's like, sounds good, no big deal. He just hangs up, and just he's a killer. I'm really excited for him. I think he's gonna bring something that we haven't really had to the table, which is a end who can get to the quarterback, but is big enough to defend the run. And I think that's something that Judon struggles with. I think he's kind of more similar to Wise, maybe with a higher ceiling. those like
I
big
think
guys
so.
who can hold the
Yeah.
edge. So yeah, I'm excited about Keon White. Now, what is your, you know, didn't expect too much, but now post camp and preseason, you're
Yeah.
like, man,
It's someone that I'm excited to see, and I really hope they stick with him, and that's Jalen Mills at free safety.
oh
I feel
wow,
like I feel like his instincts are made for that position. I've seen he has flashed in some of the times that he has played, and I think he's going to be more of a playmaker than McCourty was. Listen, it's not. I'm going to go on a little safety rant here. It's not that I'm a McCourty hater. I've just always thought he was overrated. And I hate
yep,
saying that because he's been a part of our Super Bowls.
yeah,
But the bottom line is he's always gotten paid like the Troy Palomalus, like the, who was the safety
Ed
for the
Reed,
Seahawks?
Ed Reed, or
Ed Reed. Who was
yeah,
the safety for the Seahawks? Having a brain
what,
fart here.
oh he's horrible right now. Oh wait,
No, no,
Chancellor,
no.
Chancellor,
No, not
or
Chancellor, the other one.
he's a psycho. Thomas,
Anyway, no, he
What's
wasn't
his?
a Thomas. He's just a really good free safety.
No, I know
Like
his
but Ed
last
Reed's a
name's
good
Thomas. Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas, right?
Yep.
He's always gotten paid like Ed Reed,
Yep.
Earl Thomas. He has never been those guys. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And I not doesn't mean he's not really good, but he's always been overrated to me.
And
And
the
a
best
lot
part
of his
is,
interceptions are because he's in the right place at the right time, which he gets some credit for because he's in position. But he doesn't make game change like you're like, wow, did you see that play McCourty made? Like
yep.
that was amazing. Those guys did. So anyway, I think we're going to get more actual big plays from Jalen Mills out of him. And I'm a little surprised because what are the Patriots doing keeping four starting caliber safeties on this roster? Like, get some value for them. You can't play all these guys. They have four guys that are legitimate starters, which start on almost every team in the league, section of maybe Buffalo. And, what are they doing? There's going to be two of them on the sideline at all times, pretty much.
No,
Maybe you
I
bring in a third safety here and there for a big nickel, but I don't know. I think Joshua Bledsoe is good enough where you can get rid of one of those guys, and he is a damn good fourth safety. So, but Jalen Mills, I'm excited to see how he does at free safety.
yeah, I think you can't have enough big body, hard hitting safeties, especially in the NFL with the mobile quarterbacks. I feel like I feel like Bill's trying to move and shift defenses to a more, like kind of like in basketball having a bunch of big wings, just having a bunch of big safeties because of the amount of running quarterbacks. So Josh Allen, I mean, looking at this safety core right here, um, I don't know about Mills, but I know Duggar and I know Peppers, and I think the Mapu guy could probably go one toe to toe with Josh Allen, at the first down line. Um,
Yeah,
but the problem is like I know
not
Bentley.
cool.
I see, but
He's a
here's the thing.
safety.
Yeah, I know Bentley and Tavai and like they can go to toe to toe with Allen at the first down line, but the thing is that Allen's going to get there about 3 seconds before they get there, so he's already going to be by it. So I
Yeah,
don't hate having a ton of safeties. I believe Bill actually has a plan here for these guys. Peppers didn't get too much playing time last year. I hope that changes this year. I noticed a lot of games he had a pretty low snap count, but when he was in, he really popped off the screen and he had some huge hits. So hopefully, all that goes well.
let me ask you a quick hypothetical. What if you could trade Duggar and a second round pick for a legitimate number one receiver? Would you do
That
it?
just doesn't happen in the NFL.
I mean, a legit like Debo Samuel, Duggar, and a
Of
second
course,
round pick for Debo Samuel. You
I would
would.
trade
Okay, there you
Duggar.
go.
I would trade Duggar in a first for Debo Samuel.
Trade one of these damn safeties and get something in here with some talent. But I don't know. We
The
don't need
thing
to go
is,
on about that. But
yeah, yeah. The thing is that I
I'm
know if we
excited
were to
about
trade
Jalen
him,
Mills.
I know if we were to trade him, it would end up being like a fifth. Like it would be, it wouldn't be a. They don't trade comparable player for comparable player in the NFL. It's
It's
just
been
doesn't
happening a
happen.
little more lately.
Okay.
It's
All
been a
right. We'll
little
have to
more
fact
lately.
check that
But
later.
anyway,
Maybe old Bull comes to the next podcast with a couple examples of that because I don't know. Um, all right. Next up, this is a different segment here, and I'm going to do some editing magic, but we're going to do some bets no sports podcast is a sports podcast without a betting segment. And I asked my brother-in-law, Anthony Wilga, to step up because he's the betting guru, as far as I'm aware, to give us a bet for the season. And that bet specifically is the Patriots win total. Right now, the odds, according to Vegas, is 7.5 with a plus 115 over payout and a minus 139 under payout. Wilga Basement Bets is saying hammer the over. He's actually thinks it's a great bet. He actually bet it himself. So if you're looking for a betting line for the NFL season, a prop bet going into it, I would definitely trust my boy there. And we're going to be bringing a bet every single week. He's going to take a look at the NFL slate and he's going to let us know which game he feels like is a lock for the betting crowd out there. So that's our betting segment.
Well,
Now,
let me add to
you
that.
go add
Let
to
me
it,
add to
please.
that real quick. This is the first I'm hearing of the bet. The good news is too. I don't know if it's still out there, but I heard some sites are also offering 6.5.
Wow.
So if he loves the Patriots going over at 7.5, scour the web, see if you can find a legit site that's doing it for 6.5, because that sounds like that'd be a great bet.
100%. 100%.
I don't
And
blame him. I'm higher on the team than I normally am too. And what people are looking at the schedule, the schedule looks like a gauntlet. I get that, but there's always teams that are never as good as you think they're going to be. There's always a couple teams that surprise you. They're not as bad, but a lot of the times it's more hypes that goes into the season. So these teams that are getting hyped, a lot of them aren't going to be as good as you think. So, I
completely
don't
agree.
mind that bet.
Completely
Yep.
agree. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I think the next couple is we're gonna just talk about it. And this is a segment we're gonna try and bring to every single week of the season. Since we don't have a game coming up this weekend, we're just gonna do it for the season itself. And this is a 90, 50, 10. And to explain that, there's we're going to go through and we're going to say something that we believe is a 90% chance of happening, something that we believe is a 50% chance of happening, and something we believe is a 10% chance of happening. So, off the top, Dad, do you want to lead us off? Do you have your 90% chance of happening for the Patriots season as a whole? What do you got for
Yeah,
us?
so what I'm really confident in, 90% certain is going to happen, is the Patriots. I'm not sure as far as what metrics goes, but their defense is going to be top three. I'm not
Wow,
necessarily, they might be
90%.
just, yeah,
Okay.
they might just be out of like points against, or maybe Pro Football Focus, even though they're sixth in points against, but maybe Pro Football Focus has them number 2 or 3 in the league. I one of those major metrics, the Patriots are going to be top 3 in as far
All
as
right.
defense goes.
So you believe either yardage or points allowed, top three, Patriots
Something
defense.
or Pro Football Focus, they use their
All right.
numbers. They're pretty spot on usually. They have
Okay.
them according
Okay.
to their data as a top 3.
All right. So I went a bit safer for my 90, right? The Patriots last season we ranked 17th in points scored. Um, I bel I believe that with Bill O'Brien, we're gonna finish top 12 with points scored per game. We were
Ooh.
21.4. Uh, 13th place was 23. If we were 22, we would have been just behind. There was a bunch of 21. I believe we're going to be somewhere probably around 22.5, 23, and I think it's going to get us to around 12. And I think that's going to be a lot of Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones, kind of gelling together. And I think honestly, our wide receiving core has improved considerably, and I really like the line signing. So I believe we're going to take a step up in our offense production.
Keep in mind too, a lot of those points last year were because of the defense.
Yeah, that's true.
So that whatever we had, 21, 22 points a game, was very deceptive.
Yeah,
Because if you took out the defensive touchdowns or the turnovers that gave the Patriots amazing field position,
yeah.
it would have been down more like to 15, 16 points a
That's
game.
true.
They were that
That's
bad.
true. I think
Yeah.
Duggar had what 3 touchdowns last season. I
Something like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
Just, they got an interception, and now the Patriots are starting on the other team's 25-yard line.
Yep.
They get
I
a field
completely
goal,
agree.
that 3 points belongs to the defense. They get a touchdown, it belongs to the defense. So
All right. So, and we're gonna keep track of these. We'll touch back on them at the end of the season. So what is your 50% chance of happening? What's your coin flip of the season?
So again, I'm getting a little risky here, like my first one.
I feel like
I
you're just doing three tens, but okay, go ahead.
no, I feel like there's a 50% chance that there's going to be a Patriots defensive player that is going to get an award this year.
Okay,
Either Judon getting Defensive Player of the Year, Christian Gonzalez getting Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, or even someone making first team
I was
All
gonna
Pro.
say, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I was. That's what I considered. I considered saying for my 90 that two Patriots were gonna finish first team All Pro, on defensive side, but I have such a hard time with how Bill treats stat hunting and everything like that. So,
That's true.
but
Oh, I'm sorry. And Judon, Gonzalez, and also Keon White and Duggar.
yep,
I think those guys could possibly get Duggar could possibly get Defensive Player of the Year.
or
If he
Barmore.
gets bettering, if he gets, yeah, all right, he
You
gets
never
better in
know.
coverage, Duggar.
He becomes a
Yeah,
rich man's Aaron
okay.
Donald. To surprise you. We come back and we play a clip of it.
That's a terrible take. Okay, I'm not going with that
Yeah,
take, even if there's a fire
yeah.
ever. Okay,
Okay. Now,
and that
yeah,
Keon White, maybe he could be Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. So we'll see.
linemen. They love linemen. If he can get some sacks, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised. So for my 50, I have Mac Jones with a 25 touchdown, 3,500 yard season. He had
We'll take that.
22 touchdowns in his first year. I think he had 17 last year. He had
Ooh,
uh
I don't like that yardage.
yeah, well,
That's
what, too
low.
little? Low?
Too
Well,
low. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
less than
mean,
200 yards a game, Matt.
yeah, but I mean last year he had 2,900. So I listen, I'll change
Oh,
it to too conservative. I'll do
in his
3,700.
17 games. Get
Yeah,
out of here.
all right, 4,000. 25 TDs, 4,000
Listen,
4,000 yards. All right. We'll see. I'm saying 50. I don't have a ton of faith in Mac Jones. I'm not super jazzed for him. I'm hoping. I feel like the points per game is more of the offense as a whole, right? Bill O'Brien getting creative with the running backs that he has, Ramondre and everything like that. So, but I'll up it for you and say 4,000 passing yards
thank
and
you. Now you're talking.
25
4,000.
touchdowns. Okay,
Yeah,
so I
there's
am
a good
so
shot he
curious.
gets that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if he doesn't get that, then my 90 is almost screwed, right? I need him to get something around that. Otherwise, I'm gonna freaking strike out here. Now, what's your 10%? I'm so
So
curious what this is.
my 10% is I think there is a 10% chance by the end of this year, there is no more how are we replacing Mac Jones talk or let's replace Mac Jones talk. I think there's a 10%
Yeah,
chance that he has a good enough year where it's like that's not even a subject anymore. It would be nice,
it would be
obviously.
very nice.
But because oh god, like I can't
If
stand
he has a
listening
bad year,
to
we
it.
have to. We have to replace him. If this is the
It's going to happen. If he
Yeah,
has even if he has a good year,
because we're not going to give him a
like
huge contract. So
you can't be a good quarterback in today's NFL and win a Super Bowl. You got to be one of the top ones. It's
yeah,
just so hard to
you
do.
can be a you can
So
be a
I'm hoping.
you can be a good quarterback if you're on a rookie contract. If he can't even be a good quarterback on his rookie contract, which he
Yeah.
really hasn't, then you're definitely not winning anything. Um,
Yes.
so I know I really hope that 10% comes true. And I hope it comes from Bill O'Brien. And this is I don't want to non sequitur too much, but I did hear from Chris Sims today that Bill said he had 1 or 2 years left, and if Bill
I heard that
retires
too.
in 1 or 2 years, if Bill retires 1 or 2 years and Mac Jones makes a resurgence, and I think a lot of people are gonna say that's Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien might be the next head coach, but we'll see about that. So my 10%, which is actually complete contrast to what you said, and I'll explain why. I believe my 10% is that the Patriots have a top three defense in the league, and I was gonna say it was
What?
90%. I was gonna say it was 90%. The reason why I'm not is because if you look at the slate of games they have this year, I'm not saying they're going to be a bottom half of the league, But if they're a top 3 defense in the league with the slate they have, it's going to be historical. The quarterbacks they're facing every week, the quarterbacks they're facing from week 1, I think to like week 8 are just all top 10 quarterbacks in the league. So if they're listed as a top 3 defense in the league by the end of this year, I think that we are first seed in the division, and I think we might be vying for a bye because that's an elite defense. We've always had a high level defense, but it's always been against trash quarterbacks. AFC East is loaded with quarterbacks. AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, and a lot of the good quarterbacks in the NFC we're playing. So I think we're going to have a good defense this year. My 10% is that we're going to have a historically good defense this year. That's what I think.
Terrible. That is a
Yeah, I
terrible
know you don't
take.
like it. I know you don't like it, but
That is
I
awful.
I mean, I'll say this. I thought of yours, but then I looked at the schedule and I'm like, I don't know how the heck they're going to hold all these teams to, you know, anything under 20 points per game in some of these cases. So I'm like, I don't see them getting to the top of like, the 15 points per game, 14 points per game against these teams. So, but I would
I
love to be proved wrong.
I feel like their secondary is better than last year, and I feel like they have a very, God, it kills me to say this, New York Giants ish defensive front where they could get pressure on 4 guys. I think between you know Keon White, Barmore, Judon, and Uche, I think those 4 guys should be able to get pressure consistently on third down with no other help.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I think they're going to be a problem even for the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes of the league. So we'll see.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
absolutely.
And so, we're basically done here. I will say one thing. Keep an eye out. I have some super insider information on Nick Bosa. I shared it with my dad. Um, there's possibility that Nick Bosa gets traded to an AFC East team. This was leaked by the same guy who on Reddit. Reddit's a website I frequent for some Patriot stuff, and he's an anonymous user. He leaked the Christian McCaffrey trade to San Francisco 2 weeks before anybody else. And he is saying that Nick Bosa's contract is not going well, and the 49ers are talking to a few different AFC teams to offload him. The Patriots have 16 million in cap. Next year we have 108 million. The following year we have about 150 million. Nobody's in better position than us, and then sign Nick Bosa and sign him to a big contract. He's 25 and he's special, right? So take advantage of that rookie quarterback contract. Get Nick Bosa in here. He's not going to the Jets. The Jets have, I think, 17 this year, 19 this year. They don't have the money for it. So cross my fingers. We trade for Nick Bosa. Maybe we trade one of those safeties over there. It's not Debo, but it's Bosa. And then my 10% might become a 90% if we get Nick Bosa on this defense. So that's
I
my
wouldn't
crazy take.
argue with obviously Nick Bosa. I would love to have. I mean, if you're going to use that cap space and the draft pick's going to take to get him, I would rather get an impact offensive player.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
we'll
wouldn't
see.
argue with him, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah. Who needs offense when the other quarterback's running for their life the entire time, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
All
Peyton
right.
Manning won a Super Bowl with no neck, but
That's
I
true.
but
Yeah.
yeah. Any other final thoughts, Dad, before we sign off?
That is it. The old bull needs to get to bed.
Yes, yeah. I appreciate anybody who's waited this long. I don't think anyone's gonna watch this whole dang thing except for us. But if you've made it, I sincerely appreciate you. If you want to submit your own 90, 80, 10, I would really like to hear it. If you'd like to call us idiots, and if you bet on that line from WilgsBasementBets, definitely let us know and give us a cut if you win.
We got to start putting your email address so people can write
That's
in
true.
questions. You start
That's true.
putting
You
them.
can you
All
can
right.
comment on my dad's Facebook post. You can comment on our YouTube video, and we'll definitely bring it up. And thanks for everybody. Have a good one. See ya.
Good night.